Welcome back, everybody. So, Griddle More Tour 2022 is done. Want to have some fun today. I've been meaning to do this video for the last couple of years, but just never got around to it. And so I figured, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's wing it and have some fun. So cast iron cookware, cast iron skillets. A lot of times you hear me refer to, compare the Blackstone Griddle to cooking on cast iron. Of course, Blackstone Griddle tops are made out of steel, out of rolled steel. They're not made out of cast iron. But their properties are very similar in that they retain heat, they conduct heat very well. You clean them the same way, you season them the same way, etc. Now, when I first got my first Blackstone a decade ago, immediately it became familiar to me. I was like, wow, this is just like cooking on cast iron cookware. See, at the time, this would have been like 10 to 15 years ago, I was watching a lot of these homesteading YouTube channels, still enjoy those, where they show you how to do things like seasoned cast iron skillets and clean them up and resurface them and stuff like that. So I got all my cast iron out here. I have a limited collection. It's not huge. I'm not a cast iron collector per se. I don't have books on it, but I know a teeny bit about it. So let me just show you what we got here and we'll kind of go through it. So Aaron, come on over here. So first things first, a lot of you may know, and some of you don't know, that Blackstone had a cast iron line for a few years, okay? And so this was probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so. Blackstone came to me and said, hey, you know, what kind of cast iron pieces do you like and which would work well with the griddle? I gave them a list and they made a bunch. Okay, so this was before Blackstone had as many vendors as they have now. So they ended up phasing this out. You never know if it's going to come back or not. But let's take a look at what we had in the Blackstone cast iron line. Of course, the bacon presses were cast iron as well. And that's a common question I get a lot too. People ask about the bacon press. Hey, Todd, how do I season the bacon press? You don't have to season it. It's pre-seasoned, but you keep it seasoned with oil. So hopefully that helps out. So here we go. Check it out. I'm just going to get through the Blackstone stuff first. This is a Blackstone tortilla press, okay? Folks, if you're watching this right now, don't whine in the comments down below. You should have been a fan years ago. Some of these pieces you can still pick up. Just Google them. Some people will sell them on eBay as well. But the Blackstone cast iron tortilla press, maybe I'll have to throw that in a video soon. Now these pieces you've seen me use in videos lots of times over the years. These are the Blackstone, I wrote a little note here so I can kind of remember the names. The Blackstone round cast iron dish. I think this is a small one and a medium. I use these on the griddle tops in lots of my videos. They're beautiful, okay? And I've used these for everything from sauteing onions or putting onions in like a liquid smoke sauce to having gravy and sauces. My favorites, of course, are the platters. Blackstone oval and a rectangular platter. And they kind of modeled these after the Lodge platters, I think, which was my request. Again, these are all defunct or discontinued, I guess. Beautiful. You've seen me use these in a lot of videos over the years. Cast iron, of course. They match the griddle perfectly. They're great for showing off your food. A lot of people will buy a stack of these and actually use them on their table as a nice serving platter for steak and baked potatoes and stuff like that. So that's the rectangular, and this was the oval Blackstone serving platter. So loved those things, used them quite a bit. I'm not sure what this one was called. And these also came on those wooden placeholders or wooden bottoms, wooden protectors, whatever they're called. This was a nice one that I used quite a bit in my videos. And it's a little saucepan, a Blackstone saucepan. It was a 3-piece kit. It came with the wooden bottom and the Blackstone dish with the top. And probably the most unique out of all these things were killer. And by the way, folks, if you're joining in right now and you're like, why didn't I take advantage of this years ago? Shame on you. When these things were phased out, they even had them on clearance for a long time. I saw these things as... I'm losing my train of thought. I've seen these things marked down as far as 75 to 80% off back in the day. So this was like a 3-piece serving platter. I would use this when I was making burgers and stuff like that, right? I had my pickles, lettuce, onions, or something like that. So same thing, and it had that wooden tray. I loved them. Okay, so let's Aaron, we'll bring you right over here. Got one of my little Blackstone serving carts out here. Random pieces. Oh, here we go. 2 more Blackstone pieces. An oval Blackstone serving platter. Love that for doing like my green beans, my Blackstone green beans with the almonds, and a Blackstone fajita dish. I seem to misplace my my wooden base for this. So the fajita dish, okay, there's one as well. And that was all part of Blackstone's original collection, of course. That fajita dish was modeled after the Lodge, I believe. The Lodge fajita dish as well. The fajita skillet, I should say. Okay, so we'll put that down here. Come back over here. Now these Lodge pieces here, let me switch sides with it so they can see me. This is a Lodge, what am I calling this one? I looked up a few of these to help you guys out in case you see anything you like. The 9-inch Lodge Wedge and Cornbread skillet. So when I started doing YouTube videos 15 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, companies started sending me things like crazy. Of course, Blackstone was the first company that sponsored me. Lodge used to send me a lot of stuff. Reached out to them, and they sent me a ton of these pieces. A lot of them were things that I wanted over the years, and Lodge just hooked me up, so really cool. But this was the Lodge, what did I say it was? 9-inch. See, we're going realistic here today, folks. 9-inch wedge and cornbread. So there we go. And you can see if you come in here, Aaron, I have all these seasoned up real nice. A couple times a year I'll dust these things off if I'm not using them, and I'll put lots of oil on there. But there's the cast iron wedge cornbread dish. A Lodge, again, wrote the name down. The chef's platter. This was probably my favorite of all the platters. The Lodge chef's platter. I just loved it. This reminded me of eating at a steakhouse back in the 80s, which we didn't do very often growing up. You know, we were a once a month Burger King or McDonald's family, and that's about what we got. So, but beautiful. I just loved this one. The chef's platter. Look at that. And you can see from the times I've used it and had it on the griddle and set it down, you can see in the wood here just how rustic that is. These are the Lodge melting pots, 15 ounces, I believe. Use these in a bunch of videos, and one that's coming to mind is a blue cheeseburger that I did up in Nebraska. Use these for a lot of different sauces over the years. This one, the Lodge oval serving platter, I think. And this one I'm missing the base for, the wooden base. I need to buy a new one. I think I burned it one time, caught on fire camping or something. Now this is one that Lodge sent me years ago. I didn't really have a need for it because I was getting into griddling at the time, and I've lost it. I believe it's a square Lodge griddle pan. This thing is solid. Like, as far as density goes, I think this is the most dense of any of the Lodge pieces here. So check this out. I believe that's the Lodge square grill pan. I'm not getting rid of it because it's just cool stuff. Oh, and this is cool too. This is a Old Mountain 5 3/4 inch square skillet at the flea market with the family last year, and I found this sitting there. I was trying to buy some sheets from a guy selling some sheets and pillows and stuff, and he had this, and I made him a deal. I said, if I buy your sheets, will you give me the skillet for free? And he did. So just a nice little piece there. Let's see, I'm throwing my little cheat sheets in here. Over here, come over to my other griddle. This is the one we just looked at. Here is a Lodge. Which one is this, Aaron? This is the 2-quart, 8-inch 2-quart Dutch oven. Used this in a bunch of my videos in Montana last year, cooking up things up there on the river up in northwestern Montana. So a nice 5-quart. Now this collection is certainly not comprehensive. You're seeing I don't have tripods. Back in the day I had some. I had a tripod for cooking things over open fire. That stuff's all fine and dandy, but I turned to griddling. Okay, so I still like that. I admire the old cowboy cooking, but I'm not currently doing any kind of tripod cowboy cooking. So shout out to you guys if you are, and if you guys watch and really want to get into this more, into cast iron, there's so many channels and so many resources of people that do it, and we're going to do it way better than I do. But just a beautiful piece, you know. You can put that down on your griddle top, and you could have a pot of chili sitting there simmering on your 36-inch griddle while you're cooking up something else there on the other side. Now this is a great one too, one of my favorites. This is the 6-quart Lodge Enameled cast iron Dutch oven. These are great, folks. If you're not familiar with Enameled, it's cast iron. It's fully cast iron, but they enamel these, okay? And so you can actually use these on your range top. You can use them on the oven, in the oven inside. They come in a bunch of colors. This one might have been discontinued. Of course, I'm always attracted to burnt orange and blaze orange and those outdoor hunting kind of colors. So we've used this a lot over the years. Use it on the griddle to simmer up some stuff. I did, the last video I did with this was probably it was a pasta recipe. It was, I did a pasta sauce on the range top combo a couple years ago, and I used this. I used this for roast in the oven as well. So that's Lodge Enameled cast iron. All right, let's come over to our giant skillet stack here, and we'll do the best we can. Label these up to try to help you out. This is the 9-inch cast iron skillet by Lodge. Okay, that's the traditional cast iron 9-inch. Use that quite a bit. As you can see, it's small, and even with tiny hands, I can flip it around. So that's a nice one. The Lodge 10 1/4-inch cast iron whitetail skillet. This is part of their wildlife series. They've got a bunch. They range from moose and ducks and bear to elk, and use this on a bunch of my Montana videos and other videos up in the wilderness over the years. 10 1/4-inch whitetail deer wildlife series. Here's a 10 1/4-inch regular Lodge cast iron. Okay, you can see the difference. Regular versus one of the wildlife series. You can also see I have some of the little pot holders on here. Over the years, I collected a bunch of these little Lodge cloth handle holders. Also, the silicone ones here are nice as well, if you want to check that out. Those are the silicone ones as well. Speaking of, I'm going to jump over. This is the 10-inch chef collection. You can see a difference. They call these the chef's collection. You can see they have a more rounded edge, and I guess the theory is if you're a chef, you can be pouring your sauces, you know, more comfortably and things like that. So that's the 10-inch chef skillet. What else we got here? And we have a 12-inch Lodge skillet. That's a big boy there, you know. There we go. Now, over the years, I've also had a lot of other cast iron, I should say, too. I grew up outside of Erie, Pennsylvania, and that's where Griswold cast iron, one of the most, probably the two most highly collectible brands of cast iron in the world are going to be Griswold and Wagner, just because they're out of business. I think Wagner might have been Ohio. I don't know, going off memory. And of course, Griswold was in Erie. I used to have some of those pieces. I've lost them over the years. You know how that works, and life changes. And it had a Wenzel set as well that was really cool. Big set of Wenzel cast iron. This one, you've seen me use this in lots of videos over the years. The Lodge 10 1/4-inch deep skillet. So, see the difference here? Maybe you don't want to go full Dutch oven, but maybe you want something deep. I've used this in a lot of my deep frying videos where these things conduct a lot of heat. They retain a lot of heat. You got your peanut oil in here. You have it down on the griddle, and I'm deep frying fish, deep frying shrimp and stuff like that. So, perfect to use the deep ones on the griddle. All right, we're rounding it out over here. When Lodge used to send me pieces years ago, this would have been 10 years ago, right about the time I got my first Blackstone, they came out with what they, at that time, they called the seasoned steel line. I just went out to their website. Now they're calling it the carbon steel line. Same point. You get the point. So these aren't cast. You know, these are cast skillets where it's one piece. It's cast out of a mold, right? These here, obviously, this piece is not cast. It's riveted handle, okay? So we have the 8-inch and the 10-inch carbon steel skillet. And these are great. These are like a cast iron skillet meets a restaurant. See the Lodge logo there. Meets a restaurant skillet. So those are great. You can see I have a few, including one of the leather handle holders on there. Let's see if I can find this one. I don't know what this one's called. Apparently my list blew away. I forgot what this one's called, but it's in the Lodge cast. What am I calling these? They were seasoned steel, carbon steel, the Lodge carbon steel line. The theory for this would be that you could put veggies on here and put it on your grated grill. Of course, Blackstone Griddle, don't need to worry about it anymore. I don't use this anymore, but I'm certainly not getting rid of it. It's a gorgeous piece. Blackstone Platter. This is the Blackstone 18-inch by 10-inch carbon steel griddle. I thought it was pretty darn cool when they gave it to me. And then I tried cooking on it compared to a Blackstone. Very difficult, right? So now, for me, this is more of a serving platter. Cook up a bunch of food on the griddle, and then you got your amazing picture. You can put this down on the table. But of course, if you are into open campfire cooking, the griddle is where it's at for that. And then last but not least, the Paella Pan. I'm not sure what size this is. 15, 16 inch or something, and it's a beautiful one, modeled after those Spanish paella pans. So that is just a quick look at, I think, most of my cast iron stuff here, Aaron. We'll just kind of do a slow scan. If you want to show anybody, if you have any questions below on the pieces that I own, feel free to ask. Folks, again, I'm not an expert at this. You know, I know a little bit more than the average person. I know certain things that collectors look for, but I'm not a collector. I've met people that have hundreds and hundreds of these tacked to their walls, and that certainly is not my cup of tea, but I love it. I appreciate the craftsmanship, whether they're cast in China like these Blackstone ones, or whether they're cast in Pittsburgh, Tennessee. That's Pittsburgh without the H, like the Lodge. I'm a big fan of them. They're just really cool. These things are going to stand the test of time, in theory, right? And there's stuff that you could hand down to the next generation. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me just grab one at random here. Make sure you watching all my other videos. We just did a video in collaboration with the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission. We're giving away 4 Blackstone griddles and a bunch of accessories. That's the previous video. Get back there and watch it. It runs July, August, and September right here of 2022. Until next time, everybody, this is Todd. Praise the Lord and pass the food.